How do you pronounce this word?
Hefeweizen.
Hefeweizen?
Or this?
Sauerkraut.
Oh, true. It's
How do you say-
sauerkraut.
That's how I say it, but come on, try better. Sauerkraut, how would you do it?
Sauerkraut.
Wow,
Sauerkraut.
maybe you're right. I don't know how to say except sauerkraut.
Or this?
Wunderbar.
Yeah, it's like Wunderbar.
Do you
Right?
know any other way to pronounce it? I don't know.
No.
Oh.
Most people here in the
Wunderbar.
US and many other parts of the world pronounce these very differently from how we say them in the
Really?
original German. And I, as the German in the room, often get asked what the correct
Okay.
pronunciation is. So let's get into it.
Okay.
Hello, Servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Feli. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, but I've been living here in Cincinnati, Ohio since 2016. And even here in the US, German names and words come up more often than you'd think, whether it's because they're international brand names, historical figures, or simply words that have been adopted into the English language. But obviously, most Americans aren't exactly fluent in German, and therefore just tend to pronounce these words according to English pronunciation rules.
Just
which,
wait, you'll see we're
especially
good.
when I first moved here, oftentimes threw me a real curveball because I genuinely didn't recognize these words in some cases.
Oh,
Babe, you
come
see my
on.
shoes? They're Adidas. They're what? Adidas.
Adidas. Or in French, we say Adidas.
Adidas.
How do you say that?
Adidas.
Yeah. Adidas.
I'm sorry, I don't think I know what that is. Adidas, like the brand with the 3 stripes? Oh, Adidas. Yeah, I do know what it is. Sorry.
They said almost the same thing to me.
Yeah.
She just did Adidas longer, but
About
it's
that. I've talked
Come
about this
on.
example in other videos in the past, and I've gotten
It's almost
so
the
many
same.
comments saying that there's no way that these stories are real because the American pronunciation isn't even that different. But
Yeah.
yes, this really did happen, and believe me, to my German ears, having no idea what the other person was getting at in the moment, it sounded like a word I had never even heard before in my life. And
Really?
honestly, to this day, I think that they sound like 2 completely different words. Adidas versus Adidas. And this is not the only example, which is why for today's video, I put together
Okay,
a
it's a
list
little
of
bit different,
25 German words that the world keeps pronouncing wrong. Quick disclaimer, by the world, I mainly mean the English-speaking world, and by wrong, I mean differently from how we say these words in German. Of course, you can keep
Let's
pronouncing
see.
them like this if you want to. The
I'm
first
curious,
word on the list
sauerkraut.
is this one. How do you pronounce
Hefeweizen. What I would say.
Hefeweizen. I don't know how to pronounce it. Hefeweizen.
this? Most people here in the US say Hefeweizen or Hefeweizen maybe. Well, in
Okay.
German, we pronounce this word Hefeweizen. Hefe translates
Oh.
to yeast, and Weizen means wheat, so this literally just means
Oh.
yeast wheat, but it generally refers to a
What?
Is it different?
Oh yeah, the way that she said it is very different though.
Oh, really?
wheat beer, you know, one of these. A lot of Germans also call these Weizenbier or sometimes just Weizen, so just
It's like Weizen or Weizen like a V, but Weizen like a very strong.
wheat. Or in Bavaria, we call them Weissbier, which translates to white beer. But to get back to Hefeweizen, for English native speakers, the tricky parts here are the W, which in
Yeah.
German is pronounced like an English V sound.
Weizen.
V, and the Z is pronounced like a TS sound. So we say
Weizen.
Weizen. Weizen.
Weizen.
And Hefe has that E sound that I also have in my name, Feli.
Hefeweizen.
Hefeweizen.
Yeah. Hefeweizen.
Hefeweizen.
Like this.
Doesn't really exist in English, unfortunately.
It's really
but
pronounced.
That's okay. If you get Weizen right, you're already 10 steps closer to
Weizen.
how we say this in Germany. Now, as I said earlier, you're obviously allowed to keep saying Hefeweizen if you want to, but just a heads up, if you're ever in Germany and try to order it like that, they might not understand what you're saying right away. Let's stay on
Really?
the topic of beer because the next word is this one.
Okay. Stein? Stein.
Hefeweizen. Yeah. That's
Stein?
how it writes. So this one is Stein.
Stein or Steins? Steins. I would say just Stein.
Most Americans pronounce this as Stein, and it refers to a beer mug. In German, this word is pronounced Stein. As T at the beginning of a word always turns the S into a sh sound.
Stein. Not Stein, Stein.
In German.
Yeah, Stein.
And in German, this word actually means stone or rock. So if you go to a German beer garden and ask for a Stein, you're probably not going to get what you're looking for. We usually call these a Bierkrug, or if it's a 1 liter size, it can also be a Maßkrug, especially in Bavaria. So when in doubt, it's safer to just ask for a beer mug or just for a glass in Germany. But either way, this word is pronounced Stein. You can get these on feelifromgermany.com, by the way. This word also causes a lot of confusion when it's part of a last name, as in this one, this one, or even this one. There always seems to be a lot of confusion about whether it's pronounced Stein or Stein, and while everyone gets to decide for themselves how they want their last name pronounced, of course, in German it would always be Stein, or well, Stein if it's in English.
Einstein, Weinstein, Rammstein. I cannot do it, it's hard.
Ausstein.
It's hard, S-H. Einstein. It's hard. The T want to get out all the time in my mouth.
But E-I is pronounced I. The confusion here probably comes from the fact that we also have the letter combination of I-E in a lot of words, and that one's pronounced as E. You can find this in the word diesel or Wiener, for example, which is what we call a hot dog sausage. When I used to teach German, I always said that if you can't remember which is which, just look at the second letter of the combination, and the way that that one is pronounced in English, that's how this letter combo is pronounced. So E-I ends on I and is therefore pronounced I, while I-E ends in E and is therefore pronounced E. I know, genius.
Okay.
In German, his name is pronounced Albert Einstein, and the band is called Rammstein, not Ramstein, as many people believe. But then again, many of those names here in the US have also been American.
How do we say Ramstein? Rammstein.
Over the years, so this name is commonly pronounced as Harvey Weinstein, for example. A lot of last names that end in Stein are traditionally Jewish, by the way, but some are also just German. Okay, we're going from beer to food and to this word. How do you say it?
Well, based on what she said, we Bratwurst. Because it's a V, right?
Can I not pronounce?
Bratwurst.
I'm gonna copy you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Brashwood.
It is. Most Americans say bratwurst, or sometimes it's also shortened to just brat.
But it's a V.
In German, we say Bratwurst.
Not bad.
Meaning
You're not really
sausage.
far.
And brat is short for braten, which means to fry or to roast. But if you go to Germany and ask for a brat, again, most people will just look at you all confused because we don't shorten it like that. If anything, you would shorten it as Wurst, but usually people just say Bratwurst. And we're going back to beer one more time before moving on to some more sophisticated historical words. Usually I hear this word pronounced as
oh boy. Auf Brandhus.
Abrahus.
Auf Brandhus. This is impossible for a French speaker.
Abrahus. 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 Abrahus.
Upper house?
Opera.
Auf Brandhus.
as Hofbrauhaus here in the US. Which
what I just said. I literally just pronounced like the US, even though I'm Canadian every time.
Isn't too far off. In German, the word Hof is pronounced with a long O, and then Bräu is pronounced like this.
Bräu.
And you don't need to be able to do the German R. Even if you just say Bräu, you're closer to the original. And then Haus is house.
Hofbrauhaus. Really?
Hofbrauhaus.
Hofbrauhaus.
Yeah. Hofbrauhaus.
Hofbrauhaus.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Hofbrauhaus.
Hofbrauhaus. Hof means court or royal, and Bräu means brew, by the way, because this brewery was quite literally founded as the Royal Court Brewery by the Bavarian Duke.
So the A with the 2 bar, it's like a Y, Bräu.
Wilhelm
it's like a different
in Munich in the year 1589. To this day, Hofbräuhaus is a big beer hall and one of Munich's most popular tourist attractions. And the Hof beer and one of
we reacted to a vlogger. He went there, right?
Yeah.
They had the big pork leg. The legs too. What is it? The leg?
Yeah.
The leg of the
German
the pork.
leg.
I don't. Yeah, yeah.
Munich's most popular tourist attractions, and the Hofbräu beer is exported all over the world. Hofbräuhaus also has a few
Hofbräu.
franchise locations across the world, one of them being right here next to Cincinnati in Newport,
Oh.
Kentucky. Okay, getting a little more serious, I'm sure most of you have read this book, or at least heard of it, The Diary of a Young Girl, or also commonly referred
Yes.
to as The Diary of Anne Frank.
She died
She was
young.
born in
Anne Frank. In French, we say Anne Frank. In English, Anne Frank. How you pronounce her?
Yeah, and friend.
Frankfurt, Germany, and then fled to the Netherlands with her family when she was 4. And both in German and Dutch, her name is actually pronounced Anne Frank. Anne Frank. So instead of it just
Anne
being
Frank.
one syllable, Anne,
Anne.
it's 2 syllables, Anne, and then the last name just has
Oh.
the German A vowel. Anne Frank. Okay, we're gonna stay on the topic
Anne
of
Frank.
names for a bit.
That's
The
easy,
next
right?
one belongs to this person. Yep, that's
Oh, Angela Merkel.
Angela Merkel.
I think you're probably closer than me. Angela Merkel. I don't know how else to say this.
Germany's former chancellor, who was in office for a total of 16 years. In English, she's usually referred to as Merkel, or when people say the full name, I think
Merkel.
it's either Angela Merkel, or some people say like Angela Merkel. In German, it's pronounced Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel. This one isn't too far off, but I do feel like there's a significant
Angela
difference between
Merkel.
Merkel and Merkel. Oh, and Germany's chancellor to be, probably, is called Friedrich Merz. Friedrich Merz. Again, the Z
Friedrich Merz.
Frederick.
Merz.
Frederick Merz.
is
Well,
pronounced
R
like
and
a TS,
Z.
so it's not Mers or Mers, but Merz. Okay, now we're jumping to a whole different time era and profession, and I know that you guys all know who this is.
I don't
Beethoven.
know.
Yes, Beethoven. I had a blank. Beethoven. Wait, is there another way to pronounce his name? Oh, Beethoven. Yes. Because if they pronounce a W like a V, right? How does he pronounce the V then?
Ah.
Beethoven?
Beethoven.
Beethoven? I don't know.
Right? Well, he himself would have said his name as Ludwig van Beethoven. The V in his name is pronounced the same as an F sound, Beethoven. What's interesting is that even though he was born in the German city of Bonn, his name isn't von Beethoven, which would be the German version, but van Beethoven, which is Dutch and goes back to his family being Flemish. His grandfather was from Mechelen, which is in the Flemish region of Belgium. And even though you would assume so, given his name, Beethoven was actually not a noble, by the way. Another famous composer from Germany is this guy. Now, you might not recognize him as quickly as you did Beethoven, but I'm sure you've heard of him before, because this is, and it's not pronounced Bach, but
Johann Sebastian Bach.
Granted, the CH sound in the back of the throat is one
It's
of the
Bach,
hardest
not
sounds we
Bach.
have in the German language, so nobody will expect you to
This
be able
video-
to say this correctly.
Oh my God.
But
What?
I did want to point it out at
Sorry.
least, because when I hear Bach, my first thought will probably be this. Or this, and not necessarily this guy. Aside from it being his last
Bach,
name,
Bach,
the word
Bach.
Bach also
Bach,
means
Bach,
creek,
Bach,
by the
Bach,
way. Der
Bach,
Bach.
Bach, Bach,
And when
Bach,
Johann
Bach.
Sebastian Bach passed away in 1750, this guy was just a 1-year-old baby, but he'd grow up to be one of the most influential German writers in history. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Yes, him.
Goethe?
Grant-
Wow.
Wow.
I would say Goethe. How do you say that? Goethe?
Yeah.
Goethe? Goethe?
Goethe.
I don't know
That's
what
an
else.
It's the
intimidating
Goethe
name to say.
is the building, right?
The building?
The Goethe.
I don't know.
Goethe?
There's a building called Goethe?
I've heard it pronounced different ways here in the US. I think I've heard Gotha or even Gothi, but in German it's actually pronounced Goethe. Goethe.
Goethe.
The E is a different way of spelling for the O umlaut, and the H is silent. So his full name
Goethe.
is Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. And if you went to school in Germany, chances are that you didn't
Johann
get around reading at least one of his
Wolfgang
pieces
von
at one point
Goethe.
or another, such as Faust Part 1, which when I went to school was a mandatory read for all students who were getting their Abitur diploma in the state of Bavaria, at least. The last historical figure on today's list has a name that even us Germans Germans sometimes have
Oh,
trouble
boy.
saying. I think Americans usually say Nietzsche or something.
Oh, Nietzsche.
Do you not know? If the Polish people watching here, I will say that the German is so difficult.
Oh, because
More
you think that
difficult.
Polish is easier?
Yeah, to read.
We have a Polish channel, and people keep saying that Suji pronounced Polish really, really well.
Because like German, I feel like
It's
I
harder?
need to use all my strength to
Yeah.
pronounce. I
Oh.
don't. Yeah, like
You know what? Because I read him in philosophy class, so I think it's not Nietzsche, it's Nietzsche. Something like this. Not Nietzsche. Nietzsche? Nietzsche. I was doing well pronouncing him
Like
when I was
that.
young.
In German, it's Nietzsche. Friedrich
see?
Wilhelm Nietzsche. We basically just
Nietzsche.
pretend that the
I remember
Z
when I was in
wasn't even
philosophy
there,
class.
and we just say Nietzsche. Nietzsche. He was one of the
Nietzsche.
most influential
I think it's Nietzsche, we pronounce it in Canada. Nietzsche, but it's Nietzsche. Yeah.
philosophers of the 19th century and really of all time. Okay, enough with historical figures, literature, and philosophy. Let's get back to the real important things in life. Puppies. So what type of breed is this dog?
Oh, it's a... Wait, it's not a Corgi or a Schnauzer? What is it?
I don't know the brand.
Correct
or
answer
the breed.
Is it a Schnauzer? Dash... Oh, no.
That's Shun. Ah,
There's no way that... Dash Hound? That's...
it should be that Shun.
Dash... No way.
And this is a German word, clearly. However, when I first heard this spoken out loud here in the US, I wouldn't have recognized this for the life of me. I didn't even know people were saying something in German, because this word is pronounced Dachshund or Dachshund even, while in Germany it would be Dachshund, which consists of the words Dachs, meaning badger, and Hund, which
Wait, the way that she pronounced it in German is closer to you than the American one, but both are impossible to
is
understand.
dog. So they're literally badger dogs because they actually used to hunt badgers back in the day. What's funny though is that in modern day German, we don't even use the word Dachshund. Instead, we call this breed Dacke. In English, they're also colloquially
Dacke.
referred to as wiener dogs or sausage dogs sometimes.
Oh.
Oh, come on, you're eating like a Neanderthal. As we all know, Neanderthals were the human species that existed before Homo sapiens, which is what we are. But did you know that Neanderthals were named after a valley in, you guessed it, good old Germany? Because that's where their first fossils were found in the 1850s, in the Neandertal. Tal meaning valley.
What?
Today, the
Did she
1850s,
just say?
In the Neandertal.
Neanderthal? It's like a million word letter in that, what she just said. Neanderthal?
Tal meaning valley. Today the word is
Tal.
spelled T-A-L, but back in the day it was spelled
So like a-
T-H-A-L.
Yeah, yeah,
in German,
yeah.
But the H is silent either way. So we say Neandertal, and the species is called
this is hard.
Neandertaler in German. And nope, he's not a Neandertaler, but he is the oldest natural mummy in Europe. Ötzi. That's how his name is pronounced in German, at least. In English, I've literally heard all kinds of pronunciations. Even in
Ötzi?
documentaries, I've heard Uzi, Otzi, Azi, everything. The reason he even has this name is because he was found at the Austrian-Italian border in the Ötztal Alps, and from Ötztal, he got the nickname of Ötzi. There's also a big Austrian pop/Schlager singer called DJ Ötzi, who was really popular in the early 2000s,
Ötzi.
but you didn't need to know that. Now, the next word on the list is something that I hope none of you ever have to talk about in your family, because this disease is absolutely devastating. Alzheimer's, as people here in the USA. And
Wait, what? No,
disease
wait,
is
what?
absolutely devastating. Alzheimer's, as
Alzheimer?
Alzheimer?
I say Alzheimer.
I said Alzheimer.
Yeah, I don't say Alzheimer, I say Alzheimer. In maybe I'm going to French, I say Alzheimer. Alzheimer. Not Alzheimer. What
people
is
here
that?
in the USA. In Germany, where the disease was first identified in the early 1900s, we call it Alzheimer. There's the Z letter again.
Oh,
it was
we're not
discovered
far.
by the psychiatrist Alois Alzheimer and named after him. I promise we're gonna
We're
get
not
back to
far.
more fun topics after this, but next up on my list is this word.
Oh, Reich? I think because I've listened to many documentaries, is it the Reich?
Yeah, and it looks like the Stein.
Yeah,
too,
in
right?
French I would say Reich or something like this, but Reich?
Most of
That's
you
the only thing I
probably
can think of.
immediately think of this, the Third Reich. That's how we
Yeah.
say it in German.
Reich.
Das Dritte Reich, the Third Reich. I think every time I've used this word in a video, I've gotten some comments about my pronunciation, like either about how weird it was to hear me say it like that, or some people also find it unnecessary and pretentious. But hey, it's not my fault that the German word Reich is used in English too. They could have translated Drittes Reich to Third Empire, which is what Reich means really, but for some reason they decided to only translate half of this. And it would just feel really weird to intentionally mispronounce my own language. But since the word includes the tricky CH sound, most English native speakers say Third Reich, which is fine too. As I said,
Reich,
the word
okay.
Reich means empire in German. That's what it means in this
I think
context.
we've heard that
but
word
it
too
can also
often,
be used in other
so we don't
contexts
really-
and mean things like territory or realm. All right, what's the most stereotypical German food you can think of? Sauerkraut, right? The reason I included this on the list
Sauerkraut.
Ah,
Right? Is there
yeah.
another sauerkraut?
is that English speakers are often surprised when they hear that we pronounce the S at the beginning of the word like a Z sound, Sauerkraut. While in English, people
Sauerkraut.
usually say
Oh.
sauerkraut. Another
Yeah,
super
yeah.
important German
Sauerkraut.
slash Austrian dish is, of course, this, Schnitzel. Or
See? Schnitzel.
They never pronounce the L. She say schnitzel.
Schnitzel.
Why we say schnitzel, right? Schnitzel? No? How do you pronounce it?
Oh, I cannot even like. When I saw this, I'm already confused. Like, what the heck?
Schnitzel?
Schnitzel?
Yeah, she say schnitzel. There's like no L
more
at the end.
precisely, Wiener Schnitzel. Again, I feel like this is
Wiener
mostly pronounced
Schnitzel.
correctly, but when I asked on Instagram which German words you guys think are mispronounced in the world, a lot of you sent me this one, and I'm assuming it's because in English it's Wiener Schnitzel, while in German we say Wiener Schnitzel, with the German
Wiener
W being pronounced
Schnitzel.
like in English Wiener. And of course, it's not Weiner or
Wiener
Weiner,
Schnitzel.
but Wiener. Let's not forget our little demonic device
Wiener
here. This is
Schnitzel.
one of my absolute favorite sweet treats, especially around
Oh,
Christmas
okay.
time. Marzipan. That's how we say it in German.
Marzipan. Malt.
In English, it's usually pronounced marzipan, but the word
Yeah.
is the same. It's a German
I mean,
one.
it's easy to understand
Even
this
though
one.
apparently there used to be an English name for this too, which was
Oh.
marchpane.
Good thou, save me a piece of marchpane, and as thou lovest me, let the
I've
porter let in
never
Susan
heard of the word
Grindstone, and now-
marchpane
But
or
today,
whatever
that
that
word
is.
isn't really used anymore. By the way, marzipan isn't nearly as well known here in the US as it is in Germany. So for those of you who've never had it, it's basically a confection made from sugar and almond meal. And in Germany, you can find this as a chocolate filling or just by itself.
Oh, what?
Give me cashew nut.
Where
I
is
want to
it?
eat it. Nothing, nothing to do.
Wait, we've had Ritter Sport. You guys sent us that from Germany, I think, and there was alcohol in it.
Yeah, the
it was red like this, but it was this one, but it was the rum flavor, right?
Yo, so good to remember.
Now you want the cashew nut,
Oh.
salted roasted cashew nut.
In different shapes and forms, like as marzipan potatoes or marzipan bread, for example. Some people find it disgusting, but I absolutely love marzipan. Okay, this is a fun one. So at some point living here in the US, I came across the term Kris Kringle.
Kris Kringle? I've never heard of this
Oh,
before.
by gosh, by jingle, it's time for carols and Kris Kringle.
I think people ask me about it too. Like, hey Feli, who's Kris Kringle? And I had absolutely no idea. Who is it? I think it's kind of like Santa Claus. So when I looked into it, I found out that Kris Kringle comes from the German word Christkindl and was either misheard at some point in the US or anglicized on purpose to Kris Kringle.
I've never
And
heard
yes,
of this.
Here, the term usually refers to Santa Claus.
I'm Canadian,
even
though.
though many Americans probably have never even heard of it. In southern Germany, however, the Christkind or Christkindl in Bavarian
Oh.
dialect is usually depicted like this
Okay.
and is the one who brings the presents on Christmas Eve. It's also supposed to be baby Jesus at the same time though, so yes, you are allowed to be confused. Okay, there's another figure whose name has been slightly twisted in the English language, and it's this one.
What is that?
Yes, this is a fairy tale figure from one of the
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what's
A
the
troll?
name.
stories by the brothers Grimm, and in the original German, this figure is called Rumpelstilzchen, which yes,
Oh, there's no way. I'm not even gonna try.
Rumpelstilzchen.
Rumpelstilzchen? I don't know. Impossible to pronounce.
even for Germans,
My
this can
life
be
is
pretty
fun.
tough to
I cannot pronounce this. Rumpelstiltskin.
Rumpelstiltskin.
I never heard this word before.
Point. Like the name itself kind of represents that anger that he has. In the English version, he's officially been renamed to Rumpelstiltskin, which honestly I find absolutely adorable. Okay, you know how some city names get translated in other languages? Like my hometown is München in German, for example,
Munich.
but in English it's called Munich. And Köln is Cologne in English.
Cologne,
Like a whole different
yeah.
word. But most city names just stay the same in all languages. And one of those is this one, which
Ah, I've heard Stuttgart. Because I heard in another video, right?
yeah, Stuttgart.
It's not Stuttgart. No, it's not Stuttgart. It's Stuttgart. Stuttgart, like a H somewhere.
English speakers
Right?
usually call Stuttgart.
Yeah.
Stuttgart. Honestly, I wish it
Stuttgart.
only sounded half as
Stutt-
cute in German.
There's
But
an
in
H
German,
somewhere.
it's just Stuttgart.
Yeah, see?
Stuttgart.
There's an
ST
H somewhere.
becomes St, and the
Yeah,
U sound is
Stuttgart.
short. So Stuttgart.
Dankeschön, darling, Dankeschön. I wanna thank you for walks down Lover's Lane.
Okay, Wayne Newton is probably responsible for the world mispronouncing this word, and it's not super obvious.
Dankeschön? I don't know how to say that. But the O, what is the O earlier? It was another pronunciation, right? The O. Donkey-chan? Was it the A?
Dankeschön.
I don't
But
remember
it's not
this.
so
Danke
much
schön.
Danke schön, but more Dankeschön. Dankeschön.
Dankeschön.
Or if you want to make it easier on yourself, you can also say Danke sehr or simply
Danke sehr.
Danke. All of which
Danke.
means thank you. Another German word that I
Oh.
think pretty much everyone has heard
Dankeschön.
of
Dankeschön.
is this one. In English,
Oh, come on. There's no way. Oh, so it's going to be, wait, Wunderbar. The W is going to be a V, right? Wunderbar? It's not Wunderbar.
Ah,
It's a, why we got the, it's not Wunderbar. It's Wunderbar?
Wunderbar.
It doesn't sound right, Wunderbar.
people usually say Wunderbar. In German, it's Wunderbar. Wunderbar. And I think the reason it's so
What?
well known is that, first of all, it's pretty similar to something like wonderful and therefore easy to understand. But it's also been featured in different international songs, such as this
Yeah.
one.
What a perfect night.
Yeah, and they
for
pronounce it
love.
wrong, right?
Or this
So-
one.
Wunderbar.
This next word always throws me off when I suddenly hear this in the middle of an intellectual conversation when someone says, you know, it just fit in with the zeitgeist back then. Because I feel like
I would say Zygist. Like this. Zygist. No?
Oh. Oh, it's supposed to be a guy, right? E-I?
The what?
It's supposed to be I, right? E-I. Side
Oh,
guy.
you're right. So it's Zygist. Because the E after that, you pronounce the E, right? Because E-I, you pronounce the E, and E-I, you pronounce the I at first. So Zygist?
here it sounds like such a smart foreign word, but my
Zeitgeist.
brain just hears a normal, plain old expression. Zeitgeist, which translates to time spirit, by the way. I think it's cool that it was incorporated into the English language like that, but it definitely still catches me by surprise. Last but not least, we got
So it's a
this one.
zeitgeist.
I'm sure
Leclerc and Koch.
Oh, it's a brand, right? Something.
I think so. It's probably Koch. Koch. I'm guessing that there's no H at the end because...
many of you are more familiar with it than I am.
What? A monkey or something? Like a monkey?
It's a German firearms manufacturer.
Like Leclerc and Koch. It's a firearm.
And it's called Heckler und Koch in German. Heckler
What?
and Koch, which are basically
Koch?
just two last
and
names,
what?
but Koch also means cook
What
in
is-
German. Here in the
what
US,
is
I've
Koch?
mostly heard people say Heckler and Koch, or they just abbreviated it to HK. Now, of course, this isn't the
That's
only
fair,
German
better.
brand name that gets mispronounced internationally. I already mentioned Adidas earlier, but there are numerous other major brand names that most people here pronounce wrong, or at least differently than we do in Germany. But I actually have several dedicated videos about
Oh.
brand names, so be sure to check those out if you haven't seen them yet. I'm gonna link them down below.
Yeah, honestly, I think once we get the pronunciation on some combination of letter, then we can do everything right? Like the combination that she explained, once you know all of them, then you can pronounce any word, basically, I think, right?
I think so.
You okay? What? You have a headache?
Yeah. Do
It's
you
hard.
remember anything?
No,
I
but
remember. I remember the EI thing. That's it.
oh really?
EI and IE, I and E. That's it.
Yeah. Well, now I think the V and the W,
I'm still confused
right?
about the P and
Like
W. I think
like
the V
Wonderbar
is the F.
is Wunderbar. Wunderbar.
Ah. Oh, and the O with the little hat.
Yeah, what
little
is it?
dot, I think it's the U.
Ooh. Oh, okay.
Is it? Yeah, I think it's U.
Oh, okay. Well, we got two more then. Can you pronounce? It's hard. I don't believe her though that she cannot understand what people are saying. I guess if she did not expect the word, maybe it's hard, right?
No.
I mean, sometimes I try to order in Thai and they don't understand. So, and
Yeah.
for me, I'm great.
Okay.
Like pat kapow,
Oh yeah, you good. Yeah.
Cheyenne. Sometimes they don't understand what I say Cheyenne. How do you say it?
Cheyenne. Same thing.
Sometimes they don't understand Chak Yao Yen.
Yeah, like you said, maybe they expect something.
Yeah,
from
they
you.
accept something else. So okay. Well, interesting video. I will put another reaction to her that we did before right here. So please click on it and see you very soon.